Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Freaky Friday. Today's case is probably one of the freakiest cases I have ever read about, hands down. If you're brand new to this channel, make sure you smash the thumbs up button and also hit the subscribe button right now, okay? So basically every Friday I talk about a different case, whether it's a scary one, whether it's an unsolved one, or whether it's just plain old freaky. That's what happens here on Fridays. So this case is actually gonna strike home. So if you've ever seen the movie The Conjuring, it's one of the scariest movies that have ever been out in the new age. Like, I know a lot of old movies are really scary. Well, this one's a newer movie, a couple years back, and it's actually probably one of the most frightening movies that has ever been made. And keep in mind that this movie is based on true events. Okay, so I went in deep on the internet to find more information about this family, and it turns out that there was a real family who lived these horrific events. The Perron family moved into the bewitched farmhouse in 1971, and this house was located in Harrisville, Rhode Island. So anyone who's in Rhode Island, maybe go check out this house and see what's going on. I interrupt this program to let you all know that I have a new song out. First link in the description. Go listen to it after you watch this video. Also, music video comes out Sunday. Enjoy the rest of this video. The weirdest part about this whole case was that paranormal things started happening as soon as they moved in. Was it because they weren't firm believers in God, or was it just bad luck? I'll let you guys decide. The first paranormal thing to happen in the house happened to Andrea, the oldest daughter of Caroline and Roger Perron. Basically, when Andrea was moving in, she was getting all her boxes and whatnot. She walked into the house and she saw a figure, right? She saw this man who was just staring at the previous owner, wasn't saying anything. She was curious, like, who is this guy and why is he standing in my house? So she goes up to her mom, Caroline. She said, "Mom, did you see that guy that was standing in the living room?" Her mom said, "What guy? There's no guy in there." So already we got red flags, you know? Who's this man standing in the living room? Why is there a random man standing in the living room? What's going on here, right? Later on, the other siblings came into the house and they also reported about seeing a weird figured man standing in the living room, but then they also said they saw him disappear out of thin air. Already, we got our first apparition and they just moved into this house. Like, if this happened to me, I'd have been out of that house before I could have even walked in. So this is where things were just starting off. Many other little things were happening, but nothing too alarming, nothing was aggressive. They said that one of the ghosts smelled like flowers, another one would kiss the little girls to sleep, and another one would actually sweep up the house and you would find like piles of dirt throughout this house. Where can I hire this one? Because I need my place cleaned. Kidding, jokes aside, this is all freaky, right? So with these little things happening, Caroline got interested, right? Because if you have all this paranormal stuff happening in your house, you're gonna do some kind of extensive research. Well, that's exactly what Caroline did. Caroline researched the house, and what she found out was actually pretty crazy. So it turns out that 8 generations of the same family lived and died in this house. Several of the children that lived in this house drowned in a nearby creek. Others hanged themselves in the attic, and many people just overall died in this house. If I knew all these people died in the house that I was moving into, there'd be no way that I would move into this house. So now we know that 8 generations of families lived and died in this house, but many didn't leave. Not only did the Perron family see apparitions, but just weird things would happen in the house, such as beds levitating inches off of the floor. What? A full-on bed would float. Things would move off tables. Keys would be thrown through the house. Just overall getting very weird and very creepy. But it's just not too alarming yet, right? Well, with every left comes a right, with every up comes a down, and with every good comes a bad. And that's where this next part leads us. There was a few bad spirits or demons in this house. Whatever you like to call them, they were there with the Perron family. Some of these bad spirits would slam doors in the middle of the night so hard that it felt like the whole house was shaking. Others would scream in the middle of the night, "Mama, mama." Like, just imagine being in your bed sleeping and hearing an unidentified voice screaming, "Mama, mama," downstairs. Like, oh, I got goosebumps just thinking about it right now. Mommy. Mommy. One of the spirits was so bad that the Perron family doesn't even want to talk about it. This is where it gets serious. So Andrea, the oldest daughter, was in a interview talking to a reporter, and the reporter asked about this spirit, and it's presumed that this spirit molested some of the little girls in the Perron family while they were there. This was the quote that Andrea replied with. She said, "Let's just say there was a very bad male spirit in the house with 5 little girls," which makes you think, like, see, I knew that some spirits and demons were bad, but I didn't know that they were capable of this. What else can you get out of that? If anyone has an answer for that, please let me know in the comments below. Just when you thought things were bad enough, they get worse. There was an even worse spirit in this house, and this spirit went by the name of Bathsheba. After doing some extensive research on Bathsheba, it turns out that Bathsheba is short for Bathsheba Sherman, who actually lived in this house in the 19th century. And it turns out that Bathsheba Sherman was actually a Satanist. Basically, she praised the devil. It also turns out that Bathsheba actually hung herself in the backyard by the tree in the 19th century. Weird, right? Her spirit was there, but it took a while before the spirit actually came forth and revealed herself. So now I know you're probably wondering, what does Bathsheba look like? I'm gonna describe her to you. Bathsheba was a vile, hideous creature, described as having a face similar to a desiccated beehive, covered in cobwebs with no real human features other than vermin crawling from crevices etched into her wrinkled skin of her face. It was even published in the local newspaper about Bathsheba's appearance, and this is what the article said in 1977. Miss Perron said she awoke before dawn one morning to find an apparition by her bed, the head of an old woman hanging off to one side over an old gray dress. There was a voice reverberating, "Get out, get out, get out. I'll drive you out with death and gloom." Okay, think about that. Think about waking up at night. It's just you in your bed. It's pitch dark, and you see what looks to be an old lady with her head to the side. Basically, if you have ever experienced sleep paralysis, this is something that has happened to people. I've read tons about it. It's never happened to me, fortunately, but it sounds terrifying. Basically, what sleep paralysis is when your mind is awake, but your body is asleep. You can't move, you can't forcibly wake yourself up, and during this time of sleep paralysis, weird, scary things often occur. So I would recommend not trying to do it. Whoever this Bathsheba spirit was, she perceived herself to be the mistress of the house and hated the competition that the mother, Caroline, posed on the family. So this is all getting pretty freaky, right? Well, I'm gonna give you some more facts about Bathsheba right now, and you guys can judge on what kind of person she really was. Bathsheba Thayer was born in 1812 in Rhode Island and married fellow Rhode Islander Judson Sherman on March 10th, 1844. When alive, Bathsheba had lived a life of solitude, an outcast of the community she lived in after being accused of killing a young baby who was in her care as a sacrifice to Satan. What? Okay, so this Bathsheba killed a baby to sacrifice to Satan. How did this woman not get stoned to death? I don't understand. Like, this is back in the day when they would do things like that, especially to people like this. The baby's body was found to have been impaled in the head with a sharp object. Lacking evidence, the case was eventually dropped. Bathsheba was believed to have had 3 other children, none of whom survived past the age of 4. Okay, after the first one, don't you take away all the children? And the thing is her children may not be the only victims. Bathsheba was also known to have brutalized the staff, often starving and beating them for minor infractions. When Bathsheba died on May 25th, 1885, the coroner wrote that he had never seen anything like it. Her body had eerily solidified, basically turning her into stone. I don't know how truthful those reports are. I did as much research as I can. I've never heard of a case of someone dying and turning into stone unless you are Satan yourself. If that doesn't scare you, I don't know what will. In the beginning, Bathsheba's treatment to Caroline was just basically cruel. She would pinch her, she would slap her a little bit, but nothing too crazy that would make you go running for the hills. As time progressed, so did these attacks. One day, Caroline was just laying on the couch enjoying her day when she felt her leg was impaled. As she lifted up her pants to look at her leg, she noticed that her leg had actually been impaled and was bleeding. But this didn't scare Caroline away, and Bathsheba knew this. So she took her threats even further, possessing Caroline and scaring the whole Perron family enough that they needed to call for experts. So the way Bathsheba actually came forth and manifested herself was through a medium. Okay, so the family had a seance with these 2 investigators named Ed and Lorraine Warren. These people were notarized paranormal investigators.
I'm sitting here with Carolyn Perron, who, with her family, has been experiencing supernatural occurrences.
The children were badly affected, really badly affected. That was a terrible place, honey. That was a very, very, very bad place.
I'm gonna give you a little backstory about Ed and Lorraine so you guys can catch up and understand who they were fully. Ed Warren was a World War II veteran and a former police officer who became a self-possessed demonologist after studying the subject on his own. His wife Lorraine claimed to be a clairvoyant and a medium who was capable of communicating with the demons that Ed discovered. So these are the people that you probably want to have around when things like this are happening. So Ed and Lorraine came into the house to try to investigate this place and figure out what is going on with Bathsheba, why is this happening to this family, and how can she get rid of these demons. The Warrens came over investigating the house in 1973. They conducted a seance that happened in the dining room. Lorraine, being the medium that she was, invited the spirits in, and with that came something very, very dark. This demon that came through attacked Caroline.
God damn it, stop it!
Understand this? We are now fighting for her soul!
Whatever attacked her was not of this world. It spoke through her in a language that does not exist on this planet, and it levitated her in the chair that she was in, and within a split second, when it was done, curling her body into a ball you would have expected to hear bones breaking.
And after that night, the demon that came through subdued all the other spirits in the house.
They inadvertently opened a door that they could not close. The medium invited the spirits in, and with them came something which attacked my mother.
After that, no other spirits made any other noise. No other spirits slammed doors. Now it was only Bathsheba. So it makes you think, like, were these other spirits scared of Bathsheba? Or was Bathsheba literally Satan and just silenced all these other spirits? What do you guys think? I don't know. This demon sucked the life out of Caroline. She was wasting away in front of her family.
And my mother kept wasting away. You saw the photograph of her in front of the fireplace. I mean, she was just so frail. My mother moved in there as, you know, a model material woman, just strikingly beautiful.
After the seance, Roger, the father of the house, decided he was done with all this paranormal stuff. He kicked Ed and Lorraine out of the house because he was worried about his wife's mental stability before he could get his whole family moved out in 1980. So this family was stuck in this house for 10 years. And the weird part about this whole situation, nothing else really happened after they moved. There was no other signs of spirits to the new families that lived there. It was only the Perron family, which makes you think, were they making this whole thing up? Did they hire these investigators and make them lie? Or did this all actually happen? Could this all actually happen? Like, I've seen demonic things happening, but not to this extreme. And back to the Warrens. Unfortunately, in 2006, Ed Warren died. Lorraine still takes on some cases, but not so much after her husband died. She actually runs an occult museum in Connecticut. So if you're ever in Connecticut and you want to go check out this House of Horrors, maybe go check it out.
And probably one of the most haunted places in the world. And there's some people that are afraid to even go in.
I was looking through videos online and I saw this really weird clip of Andrea in her interview saying that her mom walked out of the house.
She heard voices and she turned and she saw an entire family having dinner in the dining room at a table that was not our own.
And this was in her house. So she was wondering, like, what is this? I don't understand. And at this moment when she was thinking about this, one of the people inside the house noticed her.
And one of them looked into the parlor and made eye contact with my mother and then nudged the man beside him and pointed her out, and she was the ghost.
Wow.
That's when she understood that we were living in a portal.
I have chills right now. I don't even know how to think about this case. It's absolutely terrifying. Props to the Perron family for living there for 10 years because I don't think I would have lasted 10 minutes. So I don't mean to spoil the movie, but in The Conjuring, Ed and Lorraine, you know, helped this family. They got rid of this demon that lived in the house.
By the power of God, I condemn you back to hell.
In the real true life Perron family story, that's not what happened. They couldn't get rid of Bathsheba. The weird part about Bathsheba is, like, she kind of took on a role of being infatuated by Roger. So at one point she would break machinery and Roger would go down to the basement to fix it, and he would feel hands touching his neck and rubbing his back. So for some reason, this Bathsheba wanted to, like, take over the family from the mom's point of view. She was trying to get rid of the mom so she could take over. Like, that's crazy to think that maybe when you die, there's a whole other realm, a whole other world. Like, do you decide whether or not you're gonna be a demon? Do you decide whether or not you're gonna be an angel? I don't know. You guys tell me, what do you think happens when you die? Is it just blackness? Or is there a choice that could be made? Can you still travel the earth? How are ghosts a thing if there isn't an afterlife? I'm asking the people that are out there that do not believe, what do you think happens? I wanna get the comments going. Let's talk about this. And if you enjoyed Freaky Friday, make sure you smash the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, come back every Friday to see a new episode. And until next time, good luck everyone. Stay safe and sleep with the light on. If you're seeing this right now, My new song is out. It's called It's Over. Make sure you go and stream it. It's available everywhere. The first link in the description. Go stream the song. Blow it up. Share it with your friends. Love you guys. Make sure you guys check out yesterday's video, and also make sure you hit that subscribe button right now and turn on post notifications so you never miss a post. Follow me on my other social medias, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.